I am Scott Greenberg, my brother being Stephen Greenberg. We were born in June 1979, and yeah, we're twin brothers, fraternal twins.
Michael Krauthammer, and born on February 27th. Jeffrey Krauthammer, born on February 27th.
1972.
1972.
I'm Matt Wyrick, my wife Rochelle, and our two children, Grace and Tyler. They are twins, and they are 10 and a half years old.
You know, we've spent every minute of our lives together, other than the first 2 minutes of Jeffrey's life when I wasn't around, but then I came around pretty shortly after.
Yeah.
Every minute that we've had in this world has been
Together.
Overlapped.
We shared a room for a really long time.
Through the end of 6th grade.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think the earlier days of growing up as a twin is the best because you always have someone there you're always entertained, you always have a partner in crime.
We've only known how to raise twins.
Yeah, people say it's twice the work, but it's really like 4 times the work because you don't ever get a break.
We had to put more effort into whatever we did with both of them because there were 2 of them, and Scott would always help us out. Scott is very protective and very caring of his brother. When Scott was married and the wedding came around, he wanted Stephen to be his best man.
Well, we had Michael, Jeffrey, and Stephen, and my wife said, I can't believe that we raised the 3 of them. And what she said about Jeffrey was like the easiest.
I mean, for me, growing up either as a twin or having a twin who has special needs, it didn't strike me as being special or unusual because that's just how life has always been for me.
We need to do things for both of them so they each knew that they were important.
They both love music and they both love to dance. They both play piano. Gracie plays piano. Tyler likes to play piano.
They both like to go for bike rides. They both like ice cream. Don't you, Tyler? Where do you put your ice cream? Right there.
In your belly. Oh, okay.
Stephen loves basketball. He has loved basketball as long as I can remember. He amazes me. He's a better shot than I am.
At the end of the game, he gets to free throw and free throw until he makes it. If he makes it, he wins the game. And so that's how it works.
The one thing that Jeffrey and I both like to do is ski.
We've done a lot of skiing together.
We've done a lot of skiing together over the years. And you know, most people might say, wait a second, skiing? Like Jeffrey uses a wheelchair, how could he, what do you mean skiing? And Jeffrey's been skiing now since we were, 16, 17 years old? Mm-hmm. You know, started off doing downhill, had, you know, all kinds of the skier experiences like broken collarbones.
Broken arm.
Broken arm, more trips to the emergency room than we would like.
Care to take, yeah. We go to the emergency room in Colorado and they look at the computer and they say, which Krauthammer are you? Because 3 of us have been there at 3 different times.
But, you know, Jeffrey just keeps getting back up there, keeps getting back out there skiing, and it's great. And now we're transitioning to cross-country skiing, which hopefully will result in no broken bones.
It's very difficult as a kid because you know how kids are, and definitely teased a lot. It was a challenge.
And my sister died. Oh, long ago. How long ago, Dad?
It's been 7 years.
7 years ago, my sister passed away.
And she actually was back on break from college, and she went out one night and she ended up in a car crash. And that was maybe the first big time Stephen was challenged in such a way. He's never really faced anything like death, we never knew how he was going to take it. And would he really understand it? But he did, and he went to the funeral. He had to learn that she's not coming back, and I believe that he handled it very well, as we all have to do.
Both Scott and Stephen were very close with their sister. And I think it really bothered Stephen, as it did every one of us.
I've been involved in the Jewish Foundation for Group Homes organization for many, many years. And we decided to dedicate a house for JFGH in honor of our grandparents who perished in the Holocaust. Myself, my kids, even my parents, we come there for Hanukkah, Passover, Sukkot. It's really nice to get to know all the people in the house. Everyone has their own personality. Stephen's been there from the beginning.
Well, Stephen has been in Wagner House for many years.
Yeah, my group home.
And he has had many people taking care of him, but every one of them have just done a great job.
Yeah, I have known Stephen for 6 years, 7 months now. I feel very good working with him. Working with Stephen, you have to have a lot of patience because he's somebody, if he's bent on doing anything, he has to do it.
One of the really great aspects of Jeffrey being able to live in the Mary and Charles Oshinsky apartment program is that he's centrally located in terms of metro, the buses and the trains, metro access,
The grocery stores.
Coffee shops. How many times a day do you visit Starbucks, would you say, on average?
I've made 3 purchases today.
In 2 different visits.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just confirm my order when they say, do you want the regular?
What's given him his independence. He has someone he can talk with. He has a counselor that comes once a week, helps him with his roommate. The counselor coordinates things with the roommate. It allows us to not need to be there, which is very important.
I've been working with Jeffrey, I think, for a little over 5 years now. We have discussions and we have conversations. I'll challenge Jeffrey at times, and sometimes I can actually get him to admit that he may be mistaken about something or another, but it's a rare occasion.
Hope is for them Michael to raise his family, Stephen to raise his family, Jeffrey to continue to do what he's doing. He's working in the office. Things are good. When things are good, you don't have to plan much. JFGH is doing a very good job. That's why it was so important for Jeffrey to become involved with JFGH, because they'll be there when we're not.
Since 2002, I've raised over $65,000 in ads in the program book. My role as a board member of JFGH is to mostly advocate for the residents who are unable to do it for themselves.
Sometimes it's hard for for me as Jeffrey's brother and twin brother in particular to really appreciate all the things Jeffrey does, because everything Jeffrey does for me is normal.
We're trying to prepare him as much as possible to be as independent as possible. Simple things like him
Walking, feeding himself.
And we want him to advocate for himself. We want Grace to do what she wants. She wants to be a vet, so we're going to provide her with the resources possible to, go to school and become a vet. We're here as parents to support our kids and advocate for them, wherever possible. It's just a little bit different when you have a child with special needs.
He is by far the healthiest out of all of us, so I'm sure he will outlast us all. I don't aspire him to just establish more independence. I think he's peaked at that. He'll always need to be taken care of, but just to be a happy individual, to enjoy the day-and-day life is, I think, really the best we could ask. And I see that happening.
He's going to need assistance or care for the rest of his life.
We want him to be as independent as possible. The caregivers, we can see that they're so nurturing, and we want that for Tyler. We want someone that wants to be around him.
With Jeffrey and I being twins, and then Stephen being our younger brother, well, Jeffrey constantly reminds me that I'm also his younger brother.
Right.
I don't really need to worry about Stephen. With Jeffrey, I feel very fortunate that I don't need to worry about Jeffrey, because if things were different, if we grew up in a different place, had different parents, had a different support network, didn't have JFGH, I would have to be worrying about Jeffrey a lot more than I do now.
As my wife and I are getting older, we worry more about Stephen. It is our belief and our feeling that this is definitely the best thing that has ever happened to Stephen.
Stephen got his independence. He got to go outside of the house, develop his own kind of social network, and they gave my parents, some freedom too. And to see him hold a job, to have friends, to have girlfriends that he calls, at will, it's something that he would not have gotten if he stayed at home and lived with my parents.
The future is bright for him. He loves his home. He's always talking about his home and his roommates.
I think the future looks bright for Jeffrey. He is very, very detail-oriented, so I think that he is very capable, if he so desires, to do basically whatever he wants to do.
When Jeffrey graduated from Montgomery College, Jeffrey needed to walk. He wanted to walk to get his diploma. Michael asked if he could help Jeffrey walk, so he pushed Jeffrey to get his diploma, and that was a big deal because seeing Jeffrey graduate or get this degree from Montgomery College was huge for Jeffrey, and that was a twin moment that they shared together.